everywhere else around the world. It's what we do. The reason why there has been political support for this program for decades in Australia is because it's part of a system of orderly migration. It handles long-term migrants and refugees in an orderly fashion. You know what I mean by orderly? That is systematic.
Yep.
Around the world, people become anxious when migration systems and refugee systems become disorderly. It begins to fragment domestic political support. So my response to the current challenges of the global asylum seekers and refugees crisis is as follows. The United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees needs a whole new systematic approach, which has three elements to it. One, when you have an exodus from a country which is in crisis, the first responsibility of the UN must be to provide all the necessary financial support for the neighbouring countries. The UN failed to do so with Jordan and with Lebanon and with Turkey. As a result, we had millions of people spilling into those countries, and the rest of the West didn't care much because it wasn't their problem. Of course, it became their problem. The second element of the system that you need is one which has the UN, through the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, having a global system of reception centres, processing centres and transit centres, so that when people move, there is a humane process through which people are cared for, sheltered, accommodated until their cases are individually dealt with. That has not occurred either, hence the chaos on Lesbos, hence the chaos elsewhere. Thirdly, what you then need is, once cases are processed from asylum seekers, you decide through the UNHCR which cases are bona fide refugees defined by the Refugees Convention and which are not. For those which are bona fide refugees, they then should be distributed globally on a global burden sharing basis to countries like Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Northern Europe, Southern Europe, on the basis of the size of our countries and our ability to deal with the caseload. That doesn't happen either. And so the problem is, in reality, is that every country in the world fears, if they happen to be geographically close to a problem, because when that problem erupts, the rest of the world will say, thank God it's their problem and not ours. The problem is, none of us know where the next one will be. Right now, the focus is on Syria. 10 years ago, the focus was on Afghanistan. 5 years ago, no European would know this, but the civil war in Sri Lanka. 30 years ago, it was the revolution in Indochina and the Vietnam War and Vietnamese immigrants. Where will it be in 10 years' time? I don't know. But our global system for managing asylum seekers and refugees is in need of radical reform. Otherwise, it will undermine the domestic politics of countries around the world. And secondly, will not give a good humanitarian result for refugees themselves.
So what you're saying is that there is a need not just for European migration system, but the global one.
You need a fundamental reform of the global system for handling asylum seekers and refugees, so that there is global support and global burden sharing. Global support politically, legally, financially, and in terms of the distribution of places. And the system we've had since 1951 has now operationally collapsed because the UNHCR, the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees, neither has the capacity, the resources, or the global support to handle caseloads of millions and millions and millions of people in 1 year. That's my view.
Well, thanks a lot. I know there is one thing that I would like to ask you, but is it true about the UN and
Well, my view about the UN Secretary General is that the next UN Secretary General will be from Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe.
Really? From which country?
That I couldn't possibly comment on.
Okay. But is it true that you had this bid or not?
No. My view is that the next UN Secretary General will be from Eastern Europe, and my name is not Radinsky or Radakov.
Okay.
But seriously, leaving all that to one side, whoever the UN Secretary General is, we need to reform the global system for refugees and asylum seekers. It's so fundamentally important for the world, for the humanitarian cause, and for domestic political stability. And look at the debate here in Germany, for example, which is just...
No, in Europe everybody wants to come to Germany, yes.
Well, but you know...
Lots of refugees.
All I'm saying is that it's a huge debate globally. It's a big debate in Europe. In my country, we've had this debate for decades. Okay? Europe has discovered this in the last couple of years, the last year, really.
But Australia was taking skilled, qualified migrants, yeah?
Can I just say, here is the difference. We have a system which deals with both. Regular migration, based on skills, based on family reunion, and we take several 100,000 people every year to Australia through that program.
Yeah.
Then we have a refugees program separately, which takes about 20,000 a year. And we've done this for decades, even when it's never been in the news. So, because we are a country of immigration,
Yeah, of course.
we are familiar with this. The countries of Europe have been countries of immigration for a long time. Now you're countries of immigration, and it's a new experience for you.
Of course.
We've had to deal with it for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's interesting because in Russia, what happened after the collapse of the Soviet Union, particularly in Moscow, I come from Moscow, lots of people from the post-Soviet states are coming to Moscow, and we have, been living with them for many, many years now. And now, these kids, when I was going to school, we had all the Slavic kids. Now it's 50-50. But the thing is that they all speak Russian. And that's actually, the huge advantage, because they don't feel like they come from those days, but they feel like Russians. They act like Russians.
Well, off the record, what I'll say to you is, in Australia, it's a funny old thing. We've never really tried to make people, quote, Australian. But what happens is, within a generation, they've all become Australian.
Yep.
Because we don't try and make them into something they don't want to become.
That's what happens. No one made them.
No, that's right. So, and therefore, there's just a natural process. And the best barometer of this in my country is when I've been Prime Minister, you review troops, and suddenly there are Chinese Australians, and there are Muslim Australians, and there are Indian Australians who are lined up in the army.
Melting pot, yeah.
Well, no, it's a reflection of what happens.
It's a mixed salad, as they say.
It's what?
Mixed salad.
But it's us.
Yeah.
Like my origin is my origin is I'm Anglo-Celtic. Most of my forebears are Irish.
Can you give your name?
Kevin.
Kevin. Okay.
There you go. Kevin Wright. I'm the former Prime Minister of Australia. But my general point is that countries of historic immigration have systems which we've developed to deal with this over a long period of time. And that countries of Europe are less familiar with this.
Of course.
Thanks a lot. Would you mind if you give business card?
Yeah, sure. Just make sure if you're reporting, just make sure it's as accurate as possible. I'd be very grateful.